Hey guys, so this one I'm recording ahead of schedule, but it's fresh and on the heart. So today we're going to be talking about trauma and triggers in relationships. I'll start with my high and low since I last spoke with you guys, so I'll just think of like the last week. Let's see, my high is just how ready I'm feeling for this next transformational experience I'm going through. It is new for me, and it feels empowering, and it feels authentic, and it feels healthy. My low point, as I'll expose to you in this one, I made another video on this, but I just didn't air it, is that Rex and I are on a break and potentially have broken up. And I don't think it's important to go too much into the story. Maybe I'll change my mind throughout this, but in this moment, it doesn't feel like it's as important. What I think is more important is how we process it and how we respond to it and how we move through things to move into that place that is self-honoring. Before we get there, I want to know, what are your highs of the week? What are your lows of the, or high and low of the week? Any breakthroughs, anything that's really working out for you, anything you're really struggling with. I love hearing your ideas. It gives me insight of what I can focus on next. So I would just love to see, what's going on. Interestingly enough, usually people are going through very similar things at the same time. We're all growing as a collective similarly. It's one of those weird ones. It's like you say fork enough times, you're like fork. Is that a word? Just me. Anyway, would love if you could share. If you just want to send a message privately and you don't want to put your, private information under the comments, I totally respect that and honor that. That's a self-honoring choice. You can always message me at my personal Instagram, which is Tifanie Mayberry. That's Tifanie Mayberry, or at Beautiful Wild Woman, which I'm trying to get more traction on. So if you want to go there, pause this video and go like my new Instagram, Beautiful Wild Woman, I would adore it, and it would mean so much to me. So let's proceed. So what happened? There was something that kept happening in the relationship that I didn't appreciate, and I was really I was very kind, I was very loving, and I was very compassionate. And I kept doing that because I love Rex. You guys know that. I love him so much. And I love me too. And it's a certain point that started being a competition in my mind of, I really love him and I really love me, and who's gonna win in this, If I keep loving him while he's doing this certain thing, it feels like I'm not loving myself. And it finally got to the point where it was like, I was kind, I was nice, I started getting less kind, less nice, less kind, and less nice. And then there was a climactic moment where I burst. I was physical. I'm gonna own that. I was physical, but I didn't hit or slap or intend to hurt, but I smushed his face and I pounded his heart. And I was like, wake up. But really, and I've apologized profusely, and I've sought help for, letting things get to that moment, because that's not my authentic expression. That's not healthy, that's not loving, that's not kind, and that is what I want to be. So how did it get to that point? Well, I kept prioritizing my love for someone else over my love for myself, and that, wake up that I was saying to him was really saying, wake up to me. I wasn't being present with how angering it was for me to keep enduring these same patterns that kept coming up, because it didn't serve me and it didn't serve him. So it actually happened again on his flight back, and I got to the point where I was like, you know what? Nothing I've done has changed his actions, which problem if you think anything you're doing is going to change someone's actions. You know, it might for a time, but it has to authentically come from them. And so we had that conversation. He's always been very honest and truthful with me for the most part. And it got to the point where I was like, this isn't working. And it's a really hard decision for me. And I sat with myself and I really put my hand on my heart, which is love. I put my hand on my stomach, which is safety and security. And I sat with myself and I was like, is this what I want to do? And all I got was yes, yes, yes. And I'm like, really? No? And I was like, yes, yes. And I was like, okay. I hear you, me. I honor you. This is hard, but I'm going to honor you. And I told Rex, he asked, are you breaking up with me? And I said, yes, I am. For the next 28 days, I want us to have a clean break. I want you to have the time to address your own needs, and I'm going to do the same for myself. And I hope in that time that we can really come to some big ahas and do some self-honoring work that's going to allow us to show up as our truer, higher selves. Because how we're showing up right now is not an authentic expression of who we really are. It's a sign that, it's symptoms. There's a deeper root. And the deeper root for both of us, the deeper root for me of not honoring myself for a certain amount of time and thinking I could just push through, which is a thing. Aggressive type, oh yeah, got to do everything, be successful on your own. Yeah, don't need anyone else. You can just do this because you're a power hitter. You got the capacity to do it because you're Superwoman. No. And some people do suppress these things. And if it comes in and it doesn't get out, it's coming out somewhere. One second, let me shut the door. So it got to that point. It got to that point of me saying, Tifanie, I honor you more. I honor your well-being more. I honor your happiness, security, safety, consistency, assurance. That means more to me. That's not easy. I have friends in my life, that experience really similar dynamics. I mean, the feminine in general and the masculine, all of us. We put up with things sometimes because we're afraid to commit to our self-worth. It's challenging because it's not easy. If you tell someone, hey, this is not cool and you cannot treat me this way, I'm not going to accept it and I'm going to create space from this. There are repercussions for both sides. And for me, an issue that came up was trust. I need to be able to trust. And I need to have confidence in that. And I can't be worrying about that. And what was brought up to me by my coach was, where are you not trusting yourself? And I'm like, well, I trust myself. I'm loyal. I do what I say I'm going to do. I'm this, I'm that. But in all honesty, especially in relationships to the masculine, I have been self-sacrificial most of my life. And only very recently did I start setting firm boundaries with the most difficult people, which is my family. I set very firm boundaries. And I created space. I didn't need to hear from them on my birthday. I didn't call them on theirs. I didn't reach out on holidays. Said, you know what? If you don't treat something or someone that you love with kindness, love, and respect, then you lose it. And maybe they'll hear that lesson, maybe they won't, but I do. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to learn how to love myself, because maybe other people who endured their trauma that didn't get to process it couldn't really teach me those lessons, so I'm learning them. And that's beautiful. I love that I get to learn that, and then I get to share it with others. That makes it worth it for me. I have been there. I have been in some really shitty situations. And now that I understand trauma from the place of trauma, I can really see how the people who harmed me just haven't processed their trauma. And it's coming out at me. Because I'm a really loving, kind, receptive space, or I have been. And now I have boundaries. And now I have words to understand what they might be going through, and I can reflect that back to them. And it gives them the opportunity to do something or not. But if people have the tools and they have the understanding, it makes them much more likely to process and make a change. But you also have to accept that they may or may not be in that place. And you have to act accordingly and do the self-honoring thing. And that's where I'm at. But the trust aspect, do you trust yourself, Tifanie? I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. Historically, when I would create space when a boundary was crossed, I would break. I prioritized comfort and security by reaching back out to the same places that hurt my confidence and security. Or comfort and security and confidence. Which is, that cyclical pattern that we can get caught up in. And gosh, ain't it a thing? Ain't it hard when you're just stuck on tumble dry? And you're like, why do I keep doing this? What is that? So I'll tell you what it was for me. I said, I feel good. I feel strong right now. I feel like I'm going to be able to hold on to this self-honoring, like, let's do a clean 28-day break. And historically, I know that I've had not so much success in that realm. It's gotten a lot better since I've done more of my inner child shadow work. However, there is maybe part of me that doesn't trust myself because I have continually put myself in this situation where I know that I don't feel comforted and secure. So now I'm taking myself away to find that comfort and security on my own. So what my coach had me do was reflect, on this comfort and security. And I said, well, not to be a broken record, but I may have some paternal issues that are tough for me. And here's a little bit of that background. When I was younger, I'm just going to tell you the things. When I was younger, my mom was an opiate addict. It's pretty obvious looking back in hindsight. It wasn't as much of a thing that people acknowledge as being a bad thing now. It was a little bit more acceptable. And it was much older than me. So she was in her little den and wasn't very present most of my upbringing. And when she was beautiful. She was wonderful. Gosh, like, the best things that you love about me are most likely inspired from her. She was just such a great little Sagittarius that loved to dance. She loved to talk to people. She was funny. She was super funny. She was very caring, very loving. But she also had a lot of pain. And I don't know what the actual story is, which is another thing that I had to deal with. But at 2, she claimed that my father molested me. I think something else happened. I think they were going through a divorce and she needed financial security. That's what I think it was. And I understand it's hard for women to make it. Single mothers being successful is a challenge. So single mothers out there, I give you so much love and honor for your continued perseverance, because it's not easy. And I have been there. I was homeless by the time I was 8 with my mom. I lived on food stamps. I still will not receive food stamps, even though I need them to this day, because I still need to do some work around that. I was so poor, and she was so unwell and broken. Not broken, but severely hurt from just so many things in life, that I was not probably as hygienic as I should have been. She didn't really model how to take care of the self for me, because she honestly couldn't do that for herself. That was pain meds, because it took away the pain, and that was taking care of herself. So she was doing her best. But my best friend, her dad, was like, "Hey, do you have everything that you need?" And I was like, yeah, I think I'm fine. I'm a little low on some stuff. And he's like, "Well, let me just take you to 99-cent store, and if you need anything, you get whatever you want. It's a shopping spree. Don't hold back." And I filled up a basket of all these things that I needed. And that was a pivotal moment in recognizing, something was off. I just didn't know better. I was a little feral, But getting before that, when I was 2, my mom made this claim. And it made it to where my dad couldn't see me except for Wednesdays. And that's where this, if that really happened, why would they let him have visitation rights on Wednesdays where he would be able to see me and take me out places on his own? So that's where there's a little disconnection on things. But she ended up getting her child support. And it did help support her. That's another story. So he would take me to Disneyland every Wednesday for years. And every Wednesday after the fireworks, it was fireworks were my favorite part of it. And even when I worked there for a year and a half, I will always love Disney fireworks. Logically, I don't like how wasteful they are. I know there's problematic, issues about that, but there's that child in me that just loves them. They're so special. And then after the fireworks it was super high and then pew, super low, because that meant Dad was taking me home and he was going to tuck me into bed, sit next to me in the chair while I fell asleep, and I would cry myself to sleep, knowing that when I woke up, he would be gone. And some Wednesdays he couldn't see me, and some Wednesdays he wouldn't even express that he wasn't seeing me, or my mom wouldn't tell me. Who knows? So there's some stuff there, understandably, gosh. And, everyone's doing their best with what they have, and it's hard to see that when you are hurt. But what my coach had me do in this was go to that room, go to that crying little girl, Tifanie, and be with her for a moment. What is she needing? She's needing comfort. She's needing security. She's needing to just be reassured that she's loved and cared for, that everything's going to be okay. And so what she had me do is she closed my eyes, and out loud, I got to be with little me. And I really enjoyed that, both me's. I was just like, "Oh, come here, you cute little sweet girl. You're so adorable. I love you. And I know this is a really hard time. Gosh, it's so hard. You love your dad. You've got such a big heart. And you miss him all the time. And you're really sad. And that's worth being sad. That's your daddy. You want to have him around. What a very normal feeling to have. You want to be sad, you be sad, okay? And if you want a big hug, I'm going to give you a big hug. Whatever you want to do, I'm here with you. And I get to be there with you. And I will provide that comfort, that security, that love that you deserve. Because I know exactly what you need. And I'm going to give it to you. And now my homework is to continually check in with that little girl What are you needing? What do you want? How can I give that to you? And this is beautiful work. And it's beautiful work to do with someone, because as much as I know this, she guided me in a way that gets fuzzy when you're in it. When someone is viewing you from the outside perspective, they're able to zoom out in a way where they can connect the dots and guide you toward the experiences that will allow you to ask the questions and provide the answers for yourself that maybe you haven't been able to provide yourself, because why would you be here? Recycling old emotions and old stories and being caught up in it. And that was a really powerful thing. And then she challenged me and she said, and I told her and I told Rex, I said, you know what part of me wants to do? I want to get back out there and I want to start dating right away. And I want to meet someone that's going to honor the feminine and have healthy masculinity. And I want to just feel what that feels like. Beep, 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 beep. Little cute yellow flag, maybe orange. I don't think it's a red. What it says is, I want comfort and I want security, and I'm outsourcing. Outsourcing love. I have done that most of my life. Never taking ownership of my ability to love myself. I honestly didn't know what it really meant to love myself, and I'm still learning. It's going to be a journey, but I'm way better at it than I used to be. Gosh. So, is that the self-honoring choice to get back out there and start dating? There's part of me that's like, yeah, go out there. But there's a wiser, mature side of me that's like, no, you got work to do. And it is time that you get to take care of yourself for you. You get to love you for you. And that's where I'm at now. I'm in a good mood and in a good place right now, but last night I felt pretty... I binge watched some Bridgerton. Because I knew part of me just wanted to sit back and watch some Netflix. And I haven't been able to do that. I haven't even been able to just sit down and not do something, because I have so much to do. I have a final on Friday, or I have a very huge exam this Friday. And then I have an even bigger exam a week after that. So, yeah, why would I watch TV? But that's what the inner girl in me was needing. She wanted to have some sweet, special Netflix time. And I'm not overdoing it. It was just that little, time. But I needed that. I needed time with myself to just be. Not hold myself to so many expectations as I do. I think that's the fair bit of my process right now that I wanted to share with y'all to explain my thought process. This isn't a pity story. I feel like highlighting that. It is normal to say, oh, you poor thing. You've been through so much. And I used to be the biggest self-pity person. But Rex kind of made this funny joke where he has a history of, that he'll share on his own, but it was an expensive history. And he's like, oh yeah, well, I spent $100,000 on self-development. And all of these experiences feel so rich now with tools of learning how to heal and feel better and transform these old things that used to feel so heavy and so painful and so gut-wrenching that they would make me sick. I mean, I've had so many different diagnoses way too young. I had diverticulitis at 23. That is not normal. There are still things I can feel in my body that I need to address, and moving through this stuff, even just sharing that I'm going through a potential breakup with y'all, and using coaches, more importantly, using coaches to help me process what my mindset is and going through it in the healthiest way possible. I'm releasing so much pain from bad breakups, from bad relationships, from bad relationships to family, friends. When you get to start breaking those patterns, the pain you used to hold on to dissolves. You disempower it. You took it in and then you let it come out. So this is me letting it come out, and then also just, refilling it with some good, nurturing love. I'm so good at loving other people. So good. That means that I can be really good at loving myself. All right, gonna end it there. If this resonated with you, make sure that you like, subscribe, follow, hit that alert button, find me on Instagram. If you want to dive into doing some of this work for yourself, I implore you to do so. I would love to be someone that could help you with that. Absolutely. If you have someone that you are considering, interview whoever you're thinking about. Make sure that you do a discovery call or a clarity vision call, whatever. Make sure they've done the work. Make sure, that they have some insight to what you're wanting them to have insight around. I did not like therapists for a very long time. I found one that I loved, and then she left. Abandonment issues. And I was like, "Duh." And now I'm like, fine, I'm going to learn how to do the work myself. And I've got so much experience to work with. Trauma, love it. Been through so much of it. I love to help people recognize their humanness and their ability to heal. That's why I studied medicine for 10 years. And I found that trauma was the root pathology of so many syndromes: pain, fatigue, emotional, mental health. Gosh, it's just about damn near everywhere. So why not get real good at working with that? And I just feel so happy that now it has a reason that I get to help others understand why they feel certain ways, why they behave certain ways, and help them get out of it. And I promise, I've had male friends who've committed things against women, acts against women, that they feel shameful for. And I want to bring that one to the surface because I don't know that this group specifically feels like they have anywhere to go. And I want you to feel safe with me, because I have no doubt in my mind that somewhere along the lines you were traumatized. And I've been sexually abused by men. I have every reason to blame them. And I think that when we start recognizing our own trauma, that we get to see how other people have trauma. And I will say that the masculine maybe doesn't have the place to process that trauma, which makes them bigger perpetrators. It doesn't mean that you have to accept that behavior. By no means do you ever have to accept someone treating you with disrespect and dishonor. There is no place for that. I want to be very clear about that. And there needs to be a space for people to heal. If they want to do the work, there needs to be a place for them. So that, I just want to put that out there, because I've racked my mind about how do we help this demographic. I've been impacted since a very small age from this, group of people. Why don't we get to give them a chance to heal? Yes, you can put them in anger therapy and regular therapy, but there's not so much acceptance. Therapy is great. I do recommend therapy for everyone. And life coaching is a little different. I also have naturopathic and Chinese medicine backgrounds that give me multiple perspectives on things. I'm also Native American, I'm spiritual, and I'm Christian. So I relate to a lot of people in a lot of different ways. Whatever it is, find your person, interview them, and do the work. Because when you start doing your healing work, it affects everyone around you. I guarantee it. I'm starting to see it transpire in the relationships closest to me. And when you get to model that and you get to set this tone, you get to set the boundaries, you get to set the stage for how you get to be treated, things start looking differently. And that I'm just so happy to be here. Because I look back at where it was and I saw no way out. I thought I was stuck. And this was just the self-pity, vision that I had, was that I've been given a rotten deck and this is my life and I have to suffer. No, you don't have to suffer anymore. You don't. You don't have to suffer in your shame and your blame and any of those things that you just keep playing over and, well, I'm this way because this happened, or I did this, so I've got to shame myself for the rest of my life. No, you don't. So if you want to heal and you think that I might be a good person for you, please reach out. I would love to work with you so much because I believe that you deserve it. And the people who connect to you in a way that you're like, gosh, I just really connect with you. That was Christine Hassler for me. Listen to that. That is your soul being like, I'm wanting this. This feels like something I need. And you may have doubts and questions and all sorts of things, but working on listening to that intuitive voice, I think, is really powerful. I hope this has been good for you. This has been my favorite video I've made so far. It's just felt really organic and honest and open and healthy and self-honoring. So if anything, if you just watch this to, watch, I thank you. If you're here watching this part, you're special to me. You really are, because you're hearing my story and that's medicine for me. Thank you so much. I'm Tifanie Mayberry, beautiful wild woman. Thank you for coming to my channel. I hope to see you again. Cheers.